Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be learning how to make a strawberry keychain. I like this particular pattern because it's very easy to make for beginners, but it has quite a few components to it that make it look more complex than it is. It's in a few parts. We're going to start with the large strawberry. We'll move on to the small strawberry plus the flower, and then from there we'll be doing the strawberry leaves as well as the chain. And the raw instructions for this tutorial are also listed in the bio of this video. It's time-stamped, so it makes it quite easy to follow. If you prefer, the PDF version can be found on my Etsy, which is linked in the bio as well, but it's not necessary to have for this tutorial. So for the yarn, I am personally using the soft classic acrylic from Loops and Threads, but in reality, you just want to have any medium yarn. This is what the Loops and Threads label looks like. And you want to definitely have a medium-sized yarn because anything larger will likely produce a keychain that is way too big to be practical. You're also going to need some sort of stuffing for the keychain. You're not going to need a lot. This might even be too much, but you're going to need some of this as well too. And then you're also going to need a stitch marker. So this one's mine. And then you're going to want to have a keychain. My keychain looks like this. I just bought a bulk case of them on Amazon, and they get secured by these smaller little chains here. You're also going to want to have a pair of pliers if you have a similar keychain to my style. I can't speak for other types of keychains when it comes to securing them. You're also going to want a 4mm hook, and then a needle. And just a disclaimer, this is a free tutorial, so it's going to show you how to make and assemble this keychain, but you do have to know how to do all of the specific types of stitches in this pattern. But that being said, I do offer tutorials on my page on how to do all of the specific stitches. So if you want to refer to my Crochet 101 playlist, you'll find all of that there. We're going to be starting with the large strawberry, and we are starting with the magic ring. And this is a very simple pattern with the large strawberry. It's just really repetitive. So the first round is going to be a magic ring with 6 stitches in it. So we'll get started with that. 1, all right, so we are going to increase. In round 2, we'll do 2 stitches. So increasing is basically putting 2 stitches per stitch, or 2 stitches per stitch. And we're going to do that 6 times to make a total of 12. So at this point is when I typically like to close my magic ring completely, and I just pull. So rounds 3 to 11 of this large strawberry are very simple and repetitive, and once you finish that, you'll come back and I will show you how to close it up. All right, so this is what you should look like after round 11. You're going to need a tapestry needle like so, and there's a specific way we want to close it up. We want to use the front loop only of each stitch, and we just want to go back and sew around the back loop only in each stitch. So we'll be doing it 6 times. And as you can see, each time it kind of sews it up in, and it keeps it in the strawberry shape that we want. And after the 6th time, you just want to kind of reinforce it a little bit more if you prefer. And there you have it. We're just gonna now take the excess yarn and we're gonna push it through, and you can push it through and have it come through any part of the strawberry. And then we're gonna take our scissors. I like to kind of push down a little bit so that when we cut it, the loose yarn will disappear back into the strawberry. And there you have it. And you can also see that I have some stuffing that's kind of pushed through a little bit, but I'm not going to do it right now, but you can pull this through with tweezers very easily. And second, we have the small strawberry. It is very similar to the large strawberry, but even easier as it's smaller. So I'm not going to do a how-to on to do that one, but like the large strawberry, we have the instructions for this pattern in the bio of this video. Next, we're gonna do some embroidery work on the large strawberry. This one's optional, but I think it adds a lot of character to the strawberry. And we're gonna use yellow yarn to make the seeds. So this is quite easy. We're gonna secure the yarn to the strawberry. We don't need a lot of yarn on the end. We're going to push it through, under, and up. And you're going to want to pull quite a bit of yarn through, because all of that yarn is what we're going to use to make the seeds. And eventually, so all of this yarn is what we're going to use to make the seeds, and then the yarn that's attached to the big bundle is eventually going to get cut off and just tucked back in. So seed number 1, if you can see, I have the yarn through 1 stitch. To make the first seed, we're just going to push our pin and pull the yarn over into the space above the first stitch here. And when you push your needle through, you're going to want it to come out somewhere else, and this somewhere else is where you're going to have your second seed, so plan that accordingly. And as you can see, second seed, let's do it, we'll do it above, so we're going to push through again, and you want the pin to go where you want the third seed. And so on. So I'm going to speed up the video, but you get the gist. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I think I have enough seeds on here. These are all that I want. So I'll show you how to complete this look. We're gonna finish the last seed here. We're gonna press it down and we're gonna pull it through on our needle through to where another seed is, like so. And we're just gonna cut it. Cut that one off. And then we gotta cut the yarn off from the main ball. And then we'll take our pin and we're gonna pull it out. And then fasten off. So these are all the seeds. Next, I'm going to show you how to do the white flower. This one's a little bit more complicated, but honestly, it's not too bad. We're going to start with doing a magic ring, and we're going to work in the round. And the magic ring is going to start with 5 stitches. We're gonna mark this off with a stitch marker. We're gonna slightly close the magic ring. And for this one, we're gonna actually chain 1 before we start our sequence. So the sequence goes slip stitch, half double crochet, 2 double crochets, and then a half double crochet. And we're gonna repeat that 4 times. So I will slowly show you how to do the first one. We're going to start by slip stitching. And I find that this one is hard because you really have to make the room for each stitch, and it ends up stretching out the magic ring. So we started with the slip stitch. We're going to do a half double crochet. Pull through. Second is we're going to do a double crochet now. So we'll yarn over, pull through just like the half double, and we'll yarn over again. And we'll pull it through only 2 of the loops, and then we'll do that one more time to complete the double crochet. We're going to do that again. Double crochet, perfect. And then last of the sequence is another half double crochet. And that is one side of the flower. We're going to start the second petal. The second petal, we are going to slip stitch. And then half double crochet. Double crochet, double crochet, and then last half double crochet. And I'm going to fast forward until I'm done my 5th petal. And once I'm done my 5th petal, I will show you how to clean up the flower and get it ready to sew onto the small strawberry. So you just want to repeat this 3 more times. All right, so we have the 5th petal finished, and as you can see, it doesn't look quite done yet. So You saw how I chained one at the beginning? This is so we can slip stitch and fasten off our 5th petal. There we go, we're gonna slip stitch that. And when we fasten this off, we wanna leave a long tail for sewing because we're gonna sew this one to the small strawberry. Just pull that through, tighten. And at this point, I'm gonna also tighten my magic ring to completely close it up. Perfect. Next, we're going to sew the small strawberry together with the flower. And you kind of want to have it on an angle like so, because when we make the leaves, we're going to have the green leaf kind of coming on this other angle. And there's nothing special to this one. We just want to get underneath. And then get a piece of the white and pull it through. And we're gonna do that in a circle, and this kind of falls out sometimes. And once it feels secure, you're just gonna wanna press or put the needle back in and pull your yarn through. And I'm gonna cut it off. Perfect. Our next step is going to be embroidering the flower center onto the flower. So we'll start by putting the yellow yarn onto your needle, and we're just gonna, there's no perfect way to do this. We just are going to place the needle underneath and pull it up to the top of the flower. And you want to give a decent, you want to pull a decent amount through. And from there, we're just going to keep threading through until we get a round shape. And there we go, we have the embroidered yellow center. And at this point now, we just want to secure it off. So we're going to take the yellow yarn and we're going to push it all the way through, close to where we had the original insertion. And then I'm going to cut off the other side so it's now on its own, and I like to tie it in a knot. You don't have to. And then we're gonna take each side and we're gonna actually just fasten it off through, and we're gonna cut it off afterwards, just so it's hiding. Okay. There we go. All right, and there we go. So next we're going to move on to the chain. So we are going to start our leaf stem in a magic ring, and you'll soon understand why it's not going to start with a chain like you would typically expect. And it's because we're going to start with the leaf, and the leaf is actually going to turn into the rest of the stem. So to start, we're going to make 6 stitches in the magic ring. 1, we're going to mark the last stitch that we made with my stitch marker. And I like to tighten the magic ring, but I'm not gonna completely close it up because it's too hard to make the next round without it. So anyways, we're now gonna make the leaf, and the leaf is gonna be in 6 stitches. So stitch 1, we're going to start with just a simple increase stitch, which is 2 single stitches in the first stitch. So first and second. Stitch 2, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, and stitch 3, we're going to start with a single crochet. We're now going to do a double crochet. Next, we're going to chain 2. And we're going to do a slip stitch into the first chain of the double chain that we just did. So that was all in stitch 3. And now moving on to stitch 4, we're just going to do a double crochet. And that's about it in that one. Stitch 5, an increase. And then the last stitch, stitch 6, we're going to do another increase. Okay, now we're done the leaf, but first, just want to tighten up that magic ring completely. There we go. And normally you'd want to cut this off, but we're going to need this string for sewing, so we're going to leave it. And to start the second part of this sequence, which is going to be the actual chain stem part, we're going to want to just slip stitch back into stitch 1. And that's going to set us up for the chain. This is the easy part. We're just going to do chain 22. And now that we're done chain 22, we're going to fasten it off. And you're going to want to leave a long tail for sewing again. Just pull it. This is the point where we're going to sew the leaf onto the small strawberry. And as you can see, the reason why we wanted to leave the magic ring's tail is because we want to use it to sew it to the strawberry. And a good tip that you can use when you're wanting to sew something on is take an extra needle that you have and just pin your piece exactly where you want it. It just makes it easier. And for sewing, no perfect way to do it. You just want to catch a piece of red, and I'm gonna actually pull it all the way through. And I'm gonna sew like so. I'm gonna make some secures on this side. And like I said, no perfect way to do it, just whatever makes you feel comfortable that it's not going to come apart. I'll do some reinforcements underneath. And to fasten it off, we're just going to push it through to the other side. And cut it off. And we'll take out this. And here we go. It's quite pretty. And we're gonna actually just set this one aside because now we're gonna work on the large strawberry leaves. Moving on to the large strawberry leaves, we're going to start with 6 single crochets in a magic circle. And once we're finished, I'm going to secure our stitch marker to it, and then we're going to pull our magic circle. We're not going to completely close it though. So I'm going to show you one sequence slowly, and this sequence is going to be done 6 times. We're going to start with a slip stitch into the first stitch. And it's going to start off as a chain 3. We're going to slip stitch into the second chain down. We're going to single crochet stitch into the first chain that we made. And then we're going to start this over again. And we'll start it over again by slip stitching into the second stitch. And we're going to repeat what we did before by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to slip stitch into the first chain down. And then single crochet into the second chain down. And then we're going to repeat that again. This is repetitive, so I'm not going to do all 6 of them with you. I'm going to speed this up and I'll finish it. And once I'm done the 6th leaf, I will come back to you. So we're done the 6 leaves. And as you can see, my 6th leaf is kind of hanging off like this. We just want to slip stitch one last time to secure it down. And at this point, we want to fasten it off and leave a long tail for sewing. Tighten it. And we also want to close off the magic ring, tighten it. Optional, but I like to tie these two together into a knot. And I lied, we actually don't need those two long tails for sewing. I did securely fasten them off, and I'll show you why. And the reason why is because we are going to piece the chain, the leaves, and the large strawberry together. We will start by fastening the long tail of the stem chain to a needle, and we're gonna put the needle through the middle of the leaves hole here. And we're going to place it on top of the strawberry. And now we're gonna sew. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do it. For me, I'm just gonna pick up some red threads, sew underneath the red threads, and I'm gonna sew up through to on top of the leaves, and just I'll do it until it feels secure. And at this point, the leaves feel secure, so now we're going to take the yarn and we're just going to make sure that the stem and the chain are secured to the body of it. And that seems to be enough. So now we're going to fasten this off by threading it through. And cutting it off. At this point, our keychain is done. We just have to secure it to the actual keychain part. And again, I can't speak for other brands, but for the keychain that I have the main piece, and then I have a small clamp that you're gonna have to physically push together. So I've put the clamp on the main keychain, and I'm gonna attach the clamp to where I want the strawberry to fall. So I'm gonna hold it. This seems like a fair way for it to fall. I'm going to take the clamp and I'm going to put it through 2 different chains just for extra security and make it a little bit more sturdy. And then we're just going to fasten the main keychain piece. And this is where you're going to need your pliers. You just clamp down on it. And then I like to clamp even harder, like so. And then here you have it, your beautiful little keychain. And there you have it. the beautiful little strawberry keychain. Please like this video if you enjoyed the tutorial, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment.